the Soji 1 to 3 impacts not only kids of one faith but every faith, and whether you believe in climate change or COVID, but it affects your kids. So that's a unifying factor. And if you can prove that government has bad intentions about us people and they are working for some higher powers rather than us people, a lot more to be done than local protests. Protests are the first part where you motivate everyone. When people come on street, talk to each other, they do some chanting. There's nothing more empowering than that. Social media sitting at home will not do that. And people do need to harness their internal power to take this fight to the next level.
On September 20th, Canada saw what was probably its biggest parental rights movement it's seen, certainly its widest spread one. It was called the 1 Million March for Children, and it took place across 92 cities in the nation. And now it's preparing for its second round this Saturday, October 21st. And joining me today is two different locations organizers to tell you why they believe the battle against the sexual indoctrination of kids in schools is one you should take on. Drea Humphrey here with Rebel News, proud to be one of the very few journalists keeping it real, telling you the truth in North America about some of the disturbing politically driven sexual agendas targeting children in schools today. Agendas like Western Canada's controversial sexual orientation gender ideology program called SOGI 123, a program infused in schools that encourages educators to teach things like gender confusion or to treat sexually explicit books with images so graphic we have to blur them out on the screen right now as simple learning resources that make schools safe and SOGI inclusive. But of course, the state-backed media and the political forces they serve don't show you, parents, the inside of those books. That would weaken their ability to amplify the voices of woke unions and tax dollar squanderers like the Trudeau-funded anti-hate network that vilifies parents who want schools to be simply where their kids learn academics instead of sexual acts. For example, take a look at this now infamous leaked video leaked by Culture Guard about Ontario union members who came ahead of the first 1 million March for Children in a counterattack form.
This is absolutely crucial that we oppose this in the streets. And this is just signs that I've seen that we're rising, that this is far more than just like a far-right transphobic protest. They are fundamentally racist. They're fundamentally anti-union. They are fundamentally queer and transphobic. And it's just a matter of time before they come to us.
But at our special website called StopClassroomGrooming.com, we showed you what the very successful peaceful march was really about. We deployed journalists across the country to do that for you, and we're going to be showing you the truth of this march again at that website this Saturday. Now, because you may have heard something different after one of the main organizers behind or visionaries behind this movement pulled out. Hands Off Our Kids is a Muslim parent-led organization. Like I said, they were visionaries behind this, and they recently posted on their website that the march was canceled over conflict in the Middle East. But the grassroots are growing very strong still, and I have two of many organizers who say, wait a second, this march is still going strong. And I also have listed where we know there's multiple places still happening in Canada, so you can find that in the written article below. But let's hear from these organizers first. And joining us now is Mahmoud Mourra out in Calgary and was head of a campaign called Leave Our Kids Alone, as well as we have Amrit Baring, the leader of the Freedom Party in British Columbia. Thanks for being on Rebel News.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us, Drea.
Now, talking a little bit more about what matters, we saw a lot of mama bears come out, a lot of women come out protesting this matter, but also a lot of men as well. And here you are, a man who's taken on this fight in many forms, and you're organizing the second march in Surrey. Why is this important for you to do as a father?
Yeah, it's this matter is not just SOGI 1 to 3, which is most heinous act of these global forces, but it's also connected to very diluted schooling, which sets our children for failure, which has already been around. In addition to this, drugs, vaping, there's all kind of issues. And then the same globalist forces, since at least I am aware of the bigger picture, so we know that we do need to fight back and we can't tackle all the issues together. So the Soji 1 to 3 impacts not only kids of one faith but every faith, and whether you believe in climate change or COVID, but it affects your kids. So that's a unifying factor. So I have all that bigger picture, and I am more fighting for the future of Canada and our future generation. And Soji 1 to 3 is a key part of it. So I am that big motivated, and it needs a lot more to be done than local protests. Protests are the first part where you motivate everyone. When people come on street, talk to each other, they do some chanting. There's nothing more empowering than that. Social media, sitting at home, will not do that. Yeah, we have been doing since March 26th. The first rally we did in front of Rajna Singh's office. 70, 80 people showed up. After that, the last 1 million march was our 19th rally in the span of 9 months, pretty much every Saturday. And we have seen anywhere 8 to 10 people to 100, 120 people. That was the range. So on September 20th, we thought, since it's a part of Canada-wide rally, more people are aware. We also went to several radio stations, local ethnic radio stations. Previously, they would never call us to discuss Soji because probably they are forbidden. But as the movement is spreading, they got bolder as well. And we went to some Sikh temples. So the word spread, and we thought we will be very lucky if we can get few hundred people this time, maybe 1,000. That will be real lottery. And when I went there 11 o'clock, 1 hour ahead, it was all house full there. And and ultimately RCMP estimated about 3,000 to 4,000 people. And we occupied all 4 lanes of street.
Mahmoud, I'm going to throw to you now. Tell us a little bit about what Calgary was like.
What I could tell you, Drea, like freedom is so expensive, and sometimes people pay their lives for it. And now, I believe we're in hidden war in Canada, and that war taking place into our kids' school, into the classrooms, and the divisions they're trying to plant with the radical left is between not between liberal and conservative, Eastern Canadian, Western Canadian, black population and white population, and so on. The division now between you as a mother and your daughter, between you as a mother and your son, and between you as a father and my son, and between me as a father and my daughter. The schools trying to uh, indoctrinate our children, and they're trying to poison kids' in mind. And they are doing a great job because we are standing in the front line to fight about some principles and value we do believe in. While some of those teachers, radical left, going into our school, into our student university, and poisons their mind. And we saw the consequences. Our nation's going backward, getting poisoned. And the last things they do now to come to tell a kid you could identify yourself as a cat or a dog, or just confusion about the pronouns and what so on. Which is, I don't care if you're 18 and above, even 20 and above. This is, to be honest with you, proper age 2023. But to go for the young kids as 8, 10, 12, whatever, this is sickening. This is disgusting.
Now, we've seen a little bit of back and forth. Is this march going to go on? Now, we do know the march is going on in many places, Surrey being an example. But what do you think? Has the pulling out of hands off our kids affected this movement? Are you hearing anything about that?
It seems to me that the Western Canada, BC and Alberta are going ahead, but maybe it has more impact on Ontario side. And the reason is we have been doing it before hands of our kids, and we would have done regardless. But hands of our kids just gave it a lot more awareness to a lot more people. So participation level increased, but we would be doing regardless. I think same thing Calgary, they were doing it before. And now we have Abbotsford, Mission, Chilliwack picking up. So we are more homegrown. So we will continue regardless. But probably a lot of places in Ontario, they started with hands of our kids, and maybe they are a little bit more relying upon them. But I would say this is not, and this should not be a centralized movement, because that's exactly what we are fighting against, the centralized governing, where orders come from top and it trickles down and everyone follows. So we should have local groups who are independent of each other. They collaborate with each other, but they don't depend upon each other.
As a Calgarian father of 5 kids, it's so interested for me to protect my children and stuff.
What are your thoughts on this? Is that weakening the movement in the West or across Canada? And I know you were sort of talking back and forth between both organizations spearheading this. So let us know your insight, Mahmoud.
First of all, I'm proud to be one of the founder of the 1 Million March for Kids, and we work since day one. And I'm the main organizer for Leave Our Kids Alone here in Calgary. We work with everybody who's interested in protecting our kids and our children. Yes, the issues that taken place in the Middle East interested me. Especially, I'm originally from Palestine, born and raised in Lebanon. I call Canada home. Palestine is far from me, 13,000 kilometers. I feel bad for every innocent soul that dying there. I don't care, Christian, Jewish, Muslim, atheist, doesn't matter who you are. For every innocent people who's getting killed, this is absolutely unacceptable. This is not right. So, but this doesn't retain me or detain me from standing for my kids. My kids are Canadian. We are facing war in this country.
Let's talk about something else that was going at this very successful march that took place, and that was the union members that came together to counter protest, to intimidate, to preemptively take up the spaces of your locations. What were your thoughts on that? And are you hearing anything like that being planned for this second round?
Okay, I'm going to tell you one thing. First of all, I refuse to call them 2%. We are the majority. We're the 100%. They are the fraction of our nation. They are our son. They are our daughters. They are our confused kids. They are in special need. We need to help them. They are our people. They're nothing against us. But I'll tell you one thing. Our problem is with that government who's pushing those people to stand against us. What counter press it? Those union, when they decide to come out, I'll be honest with you, that's the biggest evidence our effort reaching to their head, to their ears. It took Trudeau and his government 40 days or plus to call the truckers in the Freedom Convoy a fringe minority. It took him 1 day for us parents to call us haters and come out. So we did push the button. We did deliver our message. But I'm going to tell you one thing. We're not pulling back. And for those unions to come out, their paid staff, I just want to imagine that father when he comes home and his son or his daughter telling him that she has some sexual identity complex or gender dysphoria, whatever they're trying to implement to our kids' life, especially when at minor age, something sickening, something disgusting. I can't say more. But for my brother and sister from the LGBTQ, whatever number plus community, we have nothing against them. If they're adult, they decide to do whatever they want to do behind their closed room, and they've been doing it for the past 10, 15 years. No one stopped them. But stay away from our kids. That's what we're saying. Leave our kids alone, because when it comes down to it, we're mama bear. We're a grizzly by itself to defend our kids, and we will do it.
Yes, ours is in Surrey, Bear Creek Park. That's where the parking is, so everyone can park there. And adjacent to that is a big red light, King George and 88th Avenue, and there is a standing area there. That's our gathering place. We start from there at 12 p.m. There's a square route which is shown on our posters. So we take that route and then we come back to starting position. And on the way is also Rachna Singh's office, so we can say just hello to the building since she won't be there. And after coming back, we can do some more speeches and motivate people, and that's our plan.
If you want to know the truth of what takes place during the 1 Million March for Children this Saturday, go to stopclassroomgrooming.com regularly for updates. And that's also where you can go now to share and find out more about the sexual indoctrination of kids in schools. And one thing you can do right now to take action from the seat you're sitting on is go there and sign our petition. We want at least 50,000 people to sign it, and we're getting very close. And it's a petition to say enough is enough about the classroom grooming. We're going to be sending that to all of the ministers of education in Canada so that they can no longer turn a blind eye to this issue. Go to stopclassroomgrooming.com.